Before we get too far underway, the U.S. Coast Guard also requires that I give you folks a bit of information regarding all of the safety features on board the boat. This vessel is inspected annually by the U.S. Coast Guard and is licensed to carry 165 passengers, and therefore we have 168 adult life jackets on board. Here on the upper deck, those life vests are just stored at the very back there in those red and white lockers or cabinets. We also have one of those here on the side of the pilot house with the small children or infant life jackets for the upper deck. And then down below for everyone sitting in our main cabin, you folks can just look up above your heads and you'll see the life jackets stowed there in the rooftop or ceiling compartments, as well as beneath some of the bench seating. We have first aid supplies up here at the helm, and firefighting equipment is stationed around this ship in various locations. Also here on the upper deck we have a number of life rings on the outer railings here, and at the very back of the boat we have our self-inflating Zodiac life raft, which actually has a capacity of 175 people, so it's bigger than the boat itself. And if we ever had to abandon ship here today, that's what we'd go for. We would just deploy the Zodiac. It would self-inflate automatically. We'd get everyone safely on board that Zodiac, and then of course from there the tour continues on, just so you get your money's worth here today. No, I'm just having some fun with you there, of course. I'm just kidding around. But I think we have your safety concerns well in hand. Here's a bit of a wind gust, so hold on to your hats. It's a pretty big one. All three of us are Coast Guard certified captains, so you're in very good hands today. Your captain here at the helm and the gentleman who gave you the dockside announcements as you came on board the boat, this is Captain Phil. And Phil is the best in the business. He's the master and commander of this ship and the longest serving captain in this ship's 92-year history. He's been captain for right around 28 summers now. So lots of experience today at the helm. Your first mate on our trip this afternoon is Mike. He's standing up here giving you a nice big wave and smile. Like I said, Mike is also a captain, but on this trip he'll be acting as our first mate, so he'll be moving around the boat from time to time. If you have any questions today, just grab Mike's attention and he'll be happy to answer any questions for you. Or if you have any concerns, just grab Mike's attention and he will be happy to assist you with anything at all today. And lastly, my name's Kevin. I'll be your tour guide this afternoon. I'll be providing you folks with a bit of information about the park and about this area. And I've grown up here in Waterton, so I would like to give you a local's perspective on this place, as well as a local's appreciation for it. So if you have questions today, if there's something you would like me to talk about during our tour, please just ask. You can just raise your hand and I can come on back and answer questions for you here this afternoon. Here comes another big gust. So hold on to your hats. I will also say I'm not going to talk for the entire trip. I think if I were to talk for the next 2 hours straight, I'd probably ruin your afternoon. Although with these wind gusts, I don't... slowing the vessel down here as we approach this cliff face on the right hand side, and this is the best part of the tour. This is the cliff diving part, so you all paid for this. It's included with your ticket. Who wants to go first? Oh, I'm kidding around, of course. This would be the place to do it. Oh, you want me to go? No, I'm not gonna.
I'll do it.
Not gonna do it. This would be the place to do it, though. You'll notice how it drops off very instantly for the most part here. And this close to the cliff, we have about 120 feet right down to the bottom here. There are a number of interesting features along the cliff face that I would like to point out for you folks. First off, just take a look at some of the layers of rock. You'll see angling here at about a 45-degree angle up along the side of the cliff. This is all sedimentary rock. Right around 98% of all the rock found here is sedimentary in nature. What that is just hardened and compressed sand, sediment, mud, and silt, compressed down in what we call lithified into solid rock. And geologists believe we have some of the oldest exposed sedimentary rock found anywhere on the planet. They've dated the oldest layers here to be back close to 1.6 billion years old. So incredibly ancient rock. It's a really unique fold formation right here, right across from where I'm standing in front of the boat right now, right at the water's edge. You'll notice a capital A-shaped fold in the side of the rock with a connecting V-shaped fold. Just standing a few meters high there, just a few feet high, right from the lake level. That A-shaped formation known as an anticline, the V-shape a syncline. And together seen like this, they comprise what geologists will call a chevron fold. A chevron fold. It's a great example to show us really how rock can bend, buckle, and fold without actually breaking or fracturing. And it's a great example of the mountain building process, or mountain orogeny, showing how mountains and valleys can be formed due to that folding or rippling of the rock. So the mountains being formed, the A-shape, the valleys, the syncline. Great little example there. You can also take a look at some of these more, and that's why there's been a handrail bolted into the mountainside to hold on to as you make your way around on that final cliff traverse. Does that sound like fun to anyone? Two people?
Yes, 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 yes.
Some people shaking their heads, no way. It's not as bad as I make it sound. The first time I actually went up there, I think I was about 7 or 8 years old when my parents took me up there for the first time. So if I could do it at that age, I'm sure most of you folks will. Well, just a whole lot of fun. Really exciting night. If that sounds a little extreme to you, but you would like to get out for a bit of a walk or a hike around here, there are a number of other trails here in Waterton that are still open despite the wildfire closures. And down in Glacier Park as well, if you have your passports and you're interested in going to see Glacier, there are a number of the fantastic trails. The one right here in Waterton goes back into that valley on our left to Bertha Falls and Bertha Lake. A 45-minute walk to the lower falls. And a little bit farther to the lake, it's about 4 miles to get up to the lake itself. It's a very beautiful walk because you're getting to hike through that bird area. You're seeing all of the regrowth already occurring. And as you make your way up to Bertha Lake, you'll find an old growth coniferous forest, a nice green oasis around the shores of the lake because it was actually untouched by the wildfire. So you get kind of the best of both worlds up there. If you decide to go hiking here in the park, it's always very important to be bear aware. Bears are up here for this is their home. We're the visitors here. We're lake in the back of the house. Always a few things to keep in mind in bear country. The number one rule, and the most important thing you can do, is to make some noise out there. To alert those animals of your presence. And it's been proven time and time again by radio collaring and tracking bears. When they hear people passing through the backcountry, they will get off the trail and get out of the way, as long as they have a chance to hear you. So that's really the key. Talk amongst yourselves, have a nice conversation on the trail. That's all you really have to do. The most effective tool is your own voice. If you're by yourself or in a smaller group of two, it's usually a good idea to let off some extra added noise. Give off a hoot or a holler. Sing songs, that's always fun. Bears out here hate ABBA, Barry Manilow, and Justin Bieber. So do I. So have some fun with it. Don't rely on trinkets, things like bear bells or bear whistles. Those things are being sold even right here in our town of Waterton, but I don't recommend their use. Those things are gimmicks. They don't really work. The bear bell, that little tinkling sound, well, it tends to get drowned out by all the natural elements around here. Things like waterfalls and streams you'll pass by on the trails. And the wind around here, when it's blowing like this, will just drown out that little jingling noise. It doesn't travel nearly as far as your own voice. Studies also suggest that this strange, inorganic tinkling sound, well, it may actually spark curiosity in bears, because bears are very curious by nature, so you might actually be bringing them right to you. That's why some of the locals around here have dubbed those dinner bells. So I don't recommend their use. And same thing with the whistles. By whistling in bear country, you're doing a great job of imitating the bottom of the food chain. Things that whistle around here are things like the marmots and the ground squirrels and the rodents here in the national park. All those things whistle, and bears love to eat close to 20 hours a day, so they hardly ever stop eating. They have a very short digestive tract, or short gut, so they can eat all day long without ever really feeling full. They've been known to consume 100,000 berries in a 24-hour period. 100,000. How do we know that? Well, a number of years ago, some university students went out to count those berry seeds, which they found in the bear's scat, or its droppings. They had to follow around a bear with a GPS locator and tracking device, collect the droppings, take it back to the lab, and count out the seeds. So it was a crappy job, literally. Question about bear spray. I know many people, even park rangers included, who have used bear spray on aggressive bears and reported it being very useful, very successful. Personally, I've never carried bear spray. I probably should, but I never have, because my thinking always is, if you're making enough noise, you're never going to surprise a bear, and therefore would have no reason to act aggressively towards you. Generally, when these bear encounters go sideways, it's because a bear has been startled, it's been surprised. If by chance that bear has cubs, they will charge. They will act very aggressively to protect their young. And those are the cases where I've heard of bear spray being used, and it's reported to be quite successful. So if you are going hiking and you have bear spray, that's an extra bit of added safety. But making noise is by far the most important, because that way those bears will always know you're in the area, and they'll never be startled or surprised as you come around a corner on a trail or through a thick area of forest. But that's a good question, absolutely. Kind of unfortunate we didn't have any luck seeing any bears here this afternoon. Of course, you never really know when or where you're going to see them, and that's what makes them wild animals. But don't give up hope. I saw a bear right here in town about 5 or 6 days ago. I had one sitting on my driveway one morning, so they can be passing through town, out on the roadways. Even if you're leaving the national park right after this tour, just keep your eyes open on that drive back up towards the park gate. There's very good black bear habitat all along that roadside. As we start to make our approach back into the bay here, I would like to ask everyone to return to their seats, and we will need the bow or the front of the ship clear at this time, as our first mate Mike begins to prepare everything for the docking procedure. We may rock a little bit here as we turn broadside to the waves and round back into the bay, so that's why I ask everyone just grab a seat and remain seated until we are secured to the boat dock up ahead. Once again, hold on to your hats and any other belongings here on the upper deck as we turn broadside. We'll probably get a few good strong gusts of wind. Also, while you're here in Waterton, check out the Prince of Wales Hotel high up on the hill. Built around the same time as this boat, built by the same company. The Great Northern Railway were responsible for building the International and the Prince of Wales Hotel. You don't have to be a registered guest to go in the main lobby and just take a look around, take some pictures. If nothing else, just go up on the hillside there where you can see all those people now and take advantage of the beautiful view from up there of the upper Waterton Valley. We just cruised around. You can walk up there, you can drive up there. There's also a nice little trail that kind of wraps around the hilltop. You'll get a nice view of the Middle Lake, which you can kind of see off on our right through that narrow channel. We have a beautiful waterfall right here in town, Cameron Falls. If you haven't seen that one yet, you must check that out. It's within walking distance from our marina. You can drive right to it as well if you don't feel like walking, although on a busy Saturday like this, if you have a parking spot, I would say just keep it and go by foot, walk around town. It's a very small, compact area, and you can see it all by foot for the most part in the town site. If you're looking for a bite to eat, there's all sorts of great variety in town. Number of souvenir stores, gift shops, ice cream shops down along the main street. Nice on a summer day like this. If you're looking for food though, there's like I said, a great variety. There's Trapper's Mountain Grill down along the main street, one of my personal favorites. There's 49 Degrees North Pizza, best pizza in town. There's a taco bar, they do Mexican food. There's Wieners of Waterton. Get out there and explore. I'm sure you'll enjoy whatever